JSC interviews for the front-runners being interviewed for the country's next Chief Justice position enters a third day. Yesterday, Supreme Court of Appeal President Mandisa had strong words for those asking whether South Africa is ready for a woman Chief Justice.
Yeah, that's right. Now, you might know this. Maya, who's the only female candidate, gave her version for the judiciary and the changes, her vision rather, for the judiciary, as well as the changes that she would make if she's been appointed. Let's begin this hour by taking you now to Sandton, where we find our Newzroom Afrika contributor, Dianne Hawker, who's been following proceedings for us since Monday. And Dianne, yesterday I heard some of the commentariat mention that you really got the sense that the heat is on to find out who the next Chief Justice will be. Also criticism that Maya spent so much time answering questions around transformation in the judiciary and not necessarily being given an opportunity to speak about her jurisprudence.
Yes, absolutely, Ayanda. Good morning to you and good morning as well to the viewers. I think that if one looks at the transcripts of the 2 days of interviews here, comparing Justice Madlanga's interview and that of Justice Maya, you will find quite a significant difference in the line of questioning. Justice Maya spent a lot of time speaking about, whether South Africa is ready for woman Chief Justice, what were the challenges faced by women on the bench, whether there was anything that could be done to ameliorate the situation, and it seemed to be a bit of a recurring line of questioning when it came to her. She obviously did get that opportunity to deliver her vision at the beginning of the session, and there were also some questions about judgments that she had made and some criticism about whether she had participated in serious cases or big cases, to which she answered that she had participated. But I think the question that really got tongues wagging was the one about whether South Africa is ready for a woman Chief Justice, and I'd like us to just take a look at what she had to say in response to that.
But I don't think it's a proper question to ask because it implies all sorts of negative things. But short answer is South Africa has always been ready to have a female Chief Justice. At inception, as you point out, we had strong, capable women. In the Constitutional Court, we had Justice Mokgoro, we had Justice O'Regan, and we know them, what they're capable of. And in other courts as well. So there's never been a shortage of women who could take up leadership in any of the ranks of this institution of ours. Yes. And I'll tell you this, that question actually annoys a lot of women. And I've had people ask, was it ever asked if South Africa is ready for a black Chief Justice, and if not, why? Why are we asking about women as if we are this homogeneous, this special group that needs to be done a favor? Just you keep checking if they are ready, and then at some stage you think, oh, maybe now. No, that's not who women are. We're as capable as men. I need not say that. I need not say that, JP.
Dianne, tell you what, there are many people nodding vigorously here in studio, listening back to those sentiments. But of course, this line of questioning didn't end there. I think it was Commissioner Dianne Hawker who also asked Judge Maya's reflections on how she feels now that she's up against, for instance, the acting Chief Justice Raymond Zondo for a second time. In fact, the sentiment that Mpofu was sharing is that many people had thought that she would be the preferred candidate, I beg your pardon, when those interviews took place, but it seemed she was overlooked. Those were his words. What was her response to that?
Well, her response to that was actually quite a candid response, Ayanda, and she said that she actually felt disappointed, that she wasn't the one that was selected to join the Constitutional Court at the time, saying that, she felt that it was another instance. I think she said, there we go again. And I think it's important to reflect on the fact that even though South Africa has made strides in, having women in leadership positions at the judiciary, when I started covering the judiciary quite extensively about 10 years ago, there were very few women in leadership. I think there was only Deputy Judge President in the Western Cape, Jeanette Traverso, and one other a woman in a leadership position. And those numbers have grown significantly over the years. Justice Maya also spoke about how at the Supreme Court of Appeal, she has made a concerted effort to make sure that there are more women judges joining the bench there, and that has been in part through her role here at the Judicial Service Commission as one of the judges who conducts those interviews. She actually spoke about how, when she joined the court, there were much fewer women, and now it's almost a 50-50 split. But I think many people were also nodding in disappointment in the interview as well, because it's not a question that actually should be asked at this point. It's 2022. Why are we still asking whether South Africa is ready? In a constitutional democracy, it's set out in the Constitution that readiness isn't necessarily a factor, it's just a thing that should happen. And I think that also came across in her response that she gave to the Commission. But I think many of the commissioners were very happy with the responses that she gave, and she was actually applauded by some commissioners for the work that she's done in terms of gender transformation and for breaking the glass ceiling within the judiciary.
And in fact, when one of the commissioners put that to her, that's when we witnessed her actually break down for a moment, when she was, in many respects, congratulated for breaking that glass ceiling, as you put it. But outside of, the back and forth in the Q&A, Dianne, you also had a moment to, I guess, capture a moment between Justice Maya and Advocate Ndebeza, who played a very important life in her career as well. Help us, I guess, place why that moment was not only worth mentioning, but certainly worth reflecting upon.
Yes, absolutely, and I think it was a very touching moment. Advocate Ndebeza walked in while the interview process was still ongoing and sat very quietly towards the back of the room, and I mean, many of us didn't notice him. And as she was walking out just ahead of the lunch break, he was speaking to the Speaker of Parliament, Nosiviwe Mapisa-Nqakula, and then Justice Maya noticed him and gave him, a really big hug and saying, I was speaking about you earlier, because she had told the Commission that he was the one who actually set her on the path to become a judge. And she gave him that hug. When you could see it, she was expressing real joy at having seen him. And of course, he was happy to see her reach this point where she's being interviewed for the top position on the judiciary.
Yeah, absolutely. A lot to take from yesterday's proceedings. We'll talk a bit more about what we're expecting later today when you and I chat again in the next hour, Dianne. For now, thanks very much indeed. Dianne Hawker, Newzroom Afrika Contributor, live to us there from Sandton. Day 3 kicks off today with Gauteng Judge President Dustin Mlambo next to take the stand.